Thank you for joining us for Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. I'm your host for this week, Liz Fabian from the Center for Collaborative Journalism. Thank you so much for joining us again, Mayor Miller. You know, this is the first time we're together for the new year for Ask Mayor Miller, and 2023, the year of fruition for the OLOST coming into play. So how will you explain how Macon-Bibb County will be using that extra penny on the dollar and how we'll see that this year put into place?
Well, sure. We're going to be the first full year implementation in 23 and 24. So this year, our residents can expect a minimal of 5 mills rollback. And that's about $25 million on the tax digest, with a mill almost being $5 million right now. So altogether, between last year and this year and probably next year, you're going to see a 9 mill rollback in its totality. Which results about a 38 to 40% rollback in the county millage rate. So we're very excited about that. I know people are looking forward to it this year. We started out when I arrived at 20.33 on the millage rate, dropped it down to the 19s, and then 17.9 last year. This year it should go to about 12.9 at the very highest point. So we're very excited about getting down into the 12s.
So the property taxes will be coming down, but the money that's being generated, how is that being spent?
That money that's being generated is being spent for the initial collection will go to public safety, which we collected last year, and we used that to fund the incentive pay for our public safety, which is their pay that they get to kind of keep the deputies here as well as all the other public safety officers. But this entire 1 penny is going to go to rollback taxes. So from this point on, every penny that's collected will go to rollback taxes for the citizens of Macon-Bibb County.
And how is that recruitment effort going with the law enforcement community? I
think it's going excellent. The fire department is getting close to fully staffed. We started a third shift there. We had a program where they're going to work at the courthouse. That's going excellent. I think fully staffed there as well. I've seen some patrols out on the streets. I know the sheriff has hired a lot of deputies since we started this initiative about 4 or 5 weeks ago, both part-time and full-time. And after he relaxed the rules at the jail to have people go directly to the patrol, that fast-track system that we talked about before, we're starting to see some positive results for the first time in the last several years.
Of course, recently there's been a lot of attention placed on police training and even recruitment, you know, with the incident that happened in Memphis, the beating death of Tyree Nichols. So do you have concerns as we're trying to recruit law officers that standards will be relaxed in terms of filling the ranks, or is that not going to happen here?
Well, it's certainly not going to happen here locally. I'm not sure what people do in Memphis and other places. I think there they had a unit that went rogue, and there was no one watching. Here, I think we've done an excellent job. We have a lot of training. We have a lot of sensitivity training and other types of training as well. The sheriff done a good job at managing perception here, getting out to the community, doing some community policing. So it's something that we never expect. I don't think it's ripe here for Macon. I think we've done enough behind the scenes to make sure something like that doesn't happen. We certainly are not going to relax the standards for our officers. We want the very best that we have there. And sometimes, you know, we have a applicant pool that's higher, and we go through that process, and it turns out that those folks don't qualify to be deputies here in Macon-Bibb County. So that may be part of the shortage that we have. As we continue to have this national view of police and the men in blue, men and women in blue, it makes it challenging to fill our positions here. But I think we're seeing some progress. We're looking forward to getting fully staffed, and we certainly have been fully funding the police department.
Anything new on the horizon when it comes to battling violent crime?
Well, certainly we do. I don't want to get ahead of some things we got going on now, but I think in the very near future you can see a lot of cameras coming, both a flock system that you'll have for tag readers and things like that, and you'll see some really good coverage in key spots that we have here on cameras that will help us monitor our community. We also expecting some new information or some new initiative that's coming up in the drug and gang task force arena, and we're very excited about that. But once again, I don't want to get ahead of some initiatives that we have going on where we're still working through the processes, but we're getting very focused on our crime. I do believe that we reached a height last year that you know, a plateau on the crime and the homicides that we have, and I expect to see some good progress in that over the next 12 to 18 months. So that's very exciting news.
Now also, we're reaping the benefit of internet sales tax, which means the current SPLOST, or Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, is running ahead of schedule on collections and will likely sunset a few years early. So assuming that you plan to renew and that you will be getting a wish list together for the legislature next year, anything you can share about what you might want to do with the next SPLOST?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of the public. I think we're going to listen to the public. There's certain things that I have envisioned myself, and we'll be talking to commissioners. But we've got some turnover coming up on the commission. We have 4 commissioners that are term limited, so we're going to catch that right in the middle of their change. We know they'll be rolling off as commissioners anyway. So we have a new group coming in. I think it's important for us to kind of make sure we get input on both sides. There's some things that have to be done, and I think we're going to look at that, whether it's a new jail, potential renovations and updating the Centroplex. Roads is one of those things as well, and of course debt. But we want the people to have a play in that and get some input on that, so it's something we'll be rolling out. We probably are almost 2 years ahead of collection, which puts us around 2026. So 2025 would be the year that we try to put that forward with some projects. So we still have a little time to go.
Okay. Now, of course, some of the SPLOST money was shifted over to the courthouses, the new courtrooms in the Macon Mall. That is progressing. How is that project coming? And the amphitheater is going vertical now, and this week it was rainy, and they were out there with the trucks and pouring concrete and everything. So is everything on schedule with that?
We think it's on schedule. We always want to be on time and under budget. I think we're moving in the right direction on both of those. You can go online and watch the day-to-day progress and watch the time lapse on there. I've been there on Saturdays and Sundays, and not only do they work in the rain, they're working on the weekends as well to try to maintain a good time schedule. Time is money, and we want to make sure we get that thing open as soon as possible. The courtrooms are coming along nicely over there, and they will be ready in the next several months. And we have the Board of Elections that we're going to eagerly work on very soon, and we expect that to be ready sometime in the summer as well. So we've got a lot of progress happening over there. 2023 is going to be a great year for a lot of the projects we have going on, and certainly 2024 is a lot to come as well.
And you mentioned earlier that you've already booked acts for the amphitheater. Anybody you can share yet?
Nah, certainly not going to make that decision for them. We've been in discussions with several prominent entertainers. It's all based on time schedules, but there's contracts going back and forth, looking at some riders for those entertainers and working around their schedules. Particularly for 2024, we're going to have a full season of some very good acts, and I'm looking forward to have some local entertainers there as well.
All right, Mayor, the amphitheater has been mentioned in a lot of international and national publications calling the public to come visit Macon. So we'll talk about Macon's season in the spotlight when we come back. Welcome back to Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. But we wanted to talk about housing because we have a question from Sharon Mims about housing. She says, I would like to know why there are no new affordable subdivisions being built in Macon. Apartment complexes and lofts are going up everywhere, but there are no subdivisions like the ones in Warner Robins and Kathleen. Bibb County residents would like nice subdivisions without having to pay $600,000 or more for a house. What's happening with housing?
Well, that's a good question. The affordable housing market is very challenging right now all across the United States, especially in Georgia, with the number of workforce we have coming in and not enough housing for them, and also because there's failure to plan for this ahead of time. When people see the lofts and these apartment complexes, they seem to ask a lot of questions, but that's not the government doing that. These are private individuals who've done their own market studies, their own research to know where to come in and build these houses. It actually does help, though, because when you have those folks that are getting into these lofts and these apartments, that's less competition for other housing that we have in Macon. One problem we have is we have a lot of institutional buyers that have come into Macon and bought up all the inventory, and they can set the prices, and that's something that we can't agree with. We're working on our own program now. As you recently know, that we had an initiative here for our affordable housing committee that we put together. We funded that $7.5 million. We're going to add another $7.5 million through private investment through foundations and banks, and we think that'll be up and running by May. That's going to put 250 new units out on the market in a year time. That's going to be affordable housing that you can get from anywhere from $500 to $800, whether you're buying the home or whether you're going to be renting the home. So we're very excited about that. We're going to do our part to make sure that happens. We do have some affordable housing. We had a senior center, seniors that was just opened up about 80 units out on Northside Drive, Tom Hill Senior area there. Very nice units in the cooperation with Macon Housing Authority and others to get some good affordable housing there. There's several places that are being renovated now. Workforce housing is what's going to be key for us, and certainly we mentioned that about our Coliseum property. We're going to have a good mixture there between some lofts and some workforce housing so people can actually afford to live and work and play in the areas that they live at. So we're excited about that. Our initiative is going to be one of those ones that the governor's program actually is modeling after our program on the revolving loan fund, where we have more housing because we realize the need that people have, and not everyone can afford $2,000 or $3,000 for monthly expenses, but they need to have a good opportunity to have housing, and we're going to make that available to them.
Do you think we'll be able to reap some of the benefits of the governor's project in terms of housing for law enforcement or public safety?
No doubt. We're going to raise the standards, what we call affordable housing, so people that have incomes up into $35,000 can still get good apartments or housing on there. We're going to provide some gap financing there. This board is going to do a great job. You know, most people talk about downtown Macon and what Newtown has done, and they've been able to expand the whole downtown. We're going to take that same model and be able to do that and be more creative on some of the financing, give attractive interest rates for developers to build affordable housing, and we're going to hold those people who are getting that money accountable for affordable housing to make sure it's truly affordable to the people like our police, our fire, our teachers that need it the most. So we want to get those people out of the extended stay places into real homes, and we want a good mixture of not only people who rent, but we need some good homeowners as well to provide stability to these neighborhoods.
And of course, we didn't mention there's also Central City Apartments that's going to be built too in the perimeter of downtown Macon, and so that's going to be affordable housing as well. Now, in the past couple of years, the strategy to deal with the homelessness here in the area has been evolving, and the Brookdale Resource Center is expanding to help in the short term, I understand. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we have a lot of wonderful things happening in our community. Our nonprofits are really rallying together. We have this Rethinking Homelessness that we're going to continue to do. Been proven on a national level to work. We want to get the most chronically people that we can off the streets and get them into permanent housing, but not only permanent housing, but to have wraparound services for them. We have some funds available, but once again, the housing shortage itself doesn't provide an opportunity. One thing with Brookdale is you get on a waiting list and you get put above everyone else on there. You kind of move to the top. When you're in a program like that, it's a transitional program. So people that are in there can look forward to getting some good housing, but we got to make sure that there's housing out there available. So we're going to continue to do our part to help build housing, to provide incentives for those that are building affordable housing, to make sure that the people there have an opportunity to go into housing. So that's something that we're excited about. It's something that's going to help with the homelessness situation we have. And we want to get those people who need it the most off the streets.
Of course, you know, the old adage, if you build it, they will come. And so we're building a lot going on in Macon, but we're also getting attention from all these publications, New York Times, Condé Nast, Men's Health, all suggesting that people come and see Macon. So how are we getting in the limelight?
Well, I think we're finally starting to show off the parts of Macon that we can all be proud of. The people in the national scene and those all across the world actually are starting to get a little taste about what Macon is. It's not an accident. We increased our tourism dollars, our hotel motel tax, our sales tax by the largest amount ever in our history. That means people are traveling to Macon-Bibb County. They're seeing the nice things that we have. You can't spend a day in Macon. You have to spend a week in Macon, and people are starting to make it a staycation. Since COVID happened as well, people are looking at places they can drive to all the time. And coming to Macon, you can hit 4, 5, 6 museums. You've got the Big House, the Cannonball House, the Hay House, Amerson. I mean, and we're looking for a new national park to come to town, and that's going to make our visitorship from about 150,000 to almost $1.3 million over a period. 1.3 million people, visitors over a period of years. So we're very excited about the progress. Like I said, some people believe that it's something that's just a hoax, and maybe they don't appreciate all that we've got going in Macon, and I deal with those people all the time. But people on a national level are starting to recognize it's a good place to visit. And when they get here, they seem to love everything we got going on. We're excited about it. They certainly are spending money here. As part to help our OLOS as well, but it also helps our museums and other attractions that we have here in the county.
And of course, we've recently had another movie in town, well, a TV series for Disney Plus, filming a documentary type program about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, not really a documentary, but more of an entertainment type program. So how do those kinds of projects help our reputation too?
Well, Visit Macon does a wonderful job, and especially Aaron Buzz over there, to make sure that we recruit and stay on the top of the list for these different events that's going to happen. We're excited about the film industry coming to Macon. While they're here, they have people that they employ here locally, which is good. They stay in our hotels, they spend money, but most importantly, they bring recognition to Macon-Bibb County. When people know that a particular film was filmed somewhere, they look for it. They go to those types of areas. It becomes a destination place to see these types of things. And we've had a lot of good films that have been shot in Macon, and they're going to continue to do so. So we're very excited about what it means for our exposure of our community, but also the dollars they bring.
And you see people like kind of making a return. I know Ron Howard worked on Hillbilly Elegy, and then he's also involved in this Disney Plus project. So we must be rolling out the red carpet well for people to want to come back.
We are. We're very accommodating to those when they come in, like Tyler Perry. You know, we expect some more things in the future for them. But I think that if you go into a town that's, you know, I say a small town, but actually 160,000 folks, and you're able to work with those people and cut through a lot of red tape, they like that. And we're very accommodating them when it comes to closing streets down, giving them an opportunity to go to some of our historic places and change the venue a little bit for them. I think they want to keep coming back, and I think they're going to continue to come back, and we're going to be, you know, continue to accommodate them.
All right, well, when we come back, we'll be talking about air quality and Mayor Miller's quest for a second term. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us for this month's Ask Mayor Miller. Mayor, we have a question from Jill Nymark. Now, she would like to talk about air quality and the Sierra Club's mission to upgrade paper mills. Jill says, everything you're doing for Macon is wonderful and visionary, but would you consider putting this on your to-do list and thinking about working with Graphic Packaging International to update their scrubbers, which were last updated 30 years ago?
Well, we always want to do everything we can to protect the environment as well as protect the citizens that we have in Macon-Bibb County. We're always interested in making sure that we do what we're supposed to do. We constantly are in communication with the EPA, EPD, and certainly we're willing to work with anyone. Graphic Packaging employs a lot of people. They pay a good salary out there. They want to be good stewards as well, and we're interested in working with both parties to make sure that something can be done. If anybody wants to volunteer, come up with some solutions that we can work out, we certainly want to partner with everyone that we can to make sure that our environment's protected.
I think I was at that news conference in 1994 when they were talking about those new scrubbers. But one of the biggest announcements recently, of course, was the groundbreaking for the runway extension at Middle Georgia Regional Airport. And how do you see that shaping Macon's future?
It's a game changer. That's really an understatement of what it means for economic development for our community. That airport has had a lot of potential for a lot of years, and no one really has tapped into it. It took 4 decades to get this runway extension done. It would have took 4 more decades if we didn't put the money up to do it, and we decided as a group to make sure that we fully funded that to get up on its, you know, to take off. And really, we're excited about what it's going to bring. It's not just bringing commercial airlines to there, which we are going to do. You can expect to see 1 or 2 new commercial airlines in the very near future. But you also can see some other hangars that are going to go up out there. You know, just to give you an example, 3 or 4 planes out there are worth $14–15 million. That's ad valorem taxes. You add those together, you're talking about $60–80 million worth of planes that are paying taxes, and you don't have a lot of work to do. It's not like you have to maintain some infrastructure to the planes. So that brings money in that people don't realize that we have out there. But more importantly, we have good jobs. Dean Baldwin's always wanting to expand already to increase theirs. A couple more hangars want to be built for maintenance repair operations, which pay good money. Our students can get those jobs, and that's why we're working with our College and Career Academy, Central Georgia Technical College, Middle Georgia State University, all of our universities, to make sure that our kids are trained to get those jobs. Those are good quality jobs. What better way to lift people out of poverty and to take care of some of this crime we have is to provide a good quality job and a career for our students. So we're going to work hard on that. That's not all that's coming to the airport. We're looking at the new FBO that's going to be coming, maybe a new freight terminal that's going to be coming so we can connect down to Savannah and that terminal straight through Macon. And we're looking for a potential new south terminal that would be great to have a new airline to come in there. Maybe that location will change somewhat on the property out there, but you know, those things take money to do. We're certainly looking at some grants and funding. I was talking to Senator Ossoff on yesterday, talked to Congressman Austin Scott and Sanford Bishop just last week, and I've asked them for some financing, some money in the infrastructure to make that happen, but we have to go big. That's one thing that we've been very adamant about. We're not gonna, you gotta take some risks sometimes. We have to go big and make sure we have financial sound principles, which we do. So the airport's gonna be a great economic tool for us for years to come.
And you're also talking about some improvements at the downtown airport as well. And it's kind of like a companion. Like you said, people could store planes out there, and then you get to reap the benefits of the ad valorem tax. It's pretty cool.
Well, we have a flight school as well, and we're going to continue to develop that relationship, expand the Middle Georgia State University's footprint that they have. There's going to be some work on that runway as well, and possibly some new T-hangars out there. So we have a lot going on, and that's going to continue to go on over the next several years.
Of course, at that airport ceremony, a paratrooper with a flag descended from the sky, and then you come up in a windsuit, and it's like, whoa. How do you come up with those kinds of public relations? You know, you've been running down the street, you've been Batman, you've been reading in your pajamas in City Hall for a Christmas story. How do y'all come up with those kinds of ideas?
Well, we have a great communications team. top notch. They've been recognized nationally themselves on several different things. You know, I rappelled off of a 7-story building as well.
I forgot
you
to
didn't
mention that one. I'm so sorry.
It was great, and I got to operate an excavator the other day, and we took down a house over on Cliffview. And you know, we want to be boots on the ground. We want to make it fun and exciting for people, not just the same old ribbon cutting or you know, groundbreaking that you have. We want people to enjoy coming to work each and every day. It really increases the morale of our whole team from the top to the bottom. You know, code enforcement's out there, the sheriff's department, the fire department, our inspectors are out there, people who inspect for asbestos. They want to see a project start and finish, and this is the first time that's happened in a long time. So it's really a morale booster for everyone. But like I said, I'll give Chris Fuller and his team all the props in the world. They've been recognized all over the place. They do a wonderful job. We try to keep it excitement, keep it real, and have some fun.
Well, it seems like you're having fun. Speaking of which, you've jumped into your re-election campaign recently and raised $300,000 in a night. What is it that you want to accomplish in a second term?
Well, we had a very good turnout. At the event that we had people from every zip code in Macon. We were excited about the diverse crowd that supports us. 300,000 is a record for a one night for a local event. It says that we're heading in the right direction, that people feel a lot of positivity going on. They want to continue to do the great things that we're doing. We're going to build on everything that we started before. We're going to continue to go through our blueprint on our transition team put together, which were stakeholders all across the community. We're going to continue to be fully funded in public safety, which we've done. We're going to make sure that the MVP program is a success. We're going to keep the blight program that we have going on. What people don't realize is our bond rating has been lifted 2 or 3 times, and we're very financially stable now for the first time in many, many years. So we have plenty of capacity there. Taxes are going down. We're going to probably get into close to the single digits in a couple of years, which is unheard of, and we'll be the least taxed county in all of Middle Georgia for sure. So we're excited about that. We're going to continue to build on that. We're going to continue to cast a wide net and be very inclusive in our day-to-day operations, and that's something I'm very proud that we've done so far.
Of course, in your runoff election with Clifford Whitby, there was a very vocal segment of the community that was in his camp. Do you think you've won over some of those people?
Well, all I can say is a lot of those folks were at our kickoff event. From several of my opponents, not just Mr. Whitby's, but several of our opponents not only contributed, but they showed up in there in support. They said we won over their support based on the way we tried to meet the needs and do the things that we said we were going to do. If you look all across Bibb County, you'll see that we have projects that touch each and every part of our community. We're going to continue to do that. That's one of the campaign promises that we make. And I think that people see the good work's going on. We're being very inclusive and allowing them opportunities to help solve the problem. So we're going to continue to build on that. And you know, we look forward to running this race. It's only a year away for qualifying, so it's not really that early compared to last time. But we're going to continue to focus on the people in our community, and in the election, they'll fall where it may.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mayor Miller. And thank you for joining us. Remember, please send your questions in to Ask Mayor Miller at mercerccj@gmail.com, and we'll get you some answers the next time we sit down with Mayor Miller. Thank you so much for joining us for Central Georgia Focus. Remember, you can watch these segments anytime on 13WMAZ.com, plus 13WMAZ Roku or Amazon platforms. Have a great week, everyone. See you next time.